Hi and welcome. I'm Sean Harris, and in today's online training we are going to cover the programming and downloading of the new software onto an ATA graphics server using a USB stick. By the end of the lesson, the technician will be able to format and load new themes onto a USB stick, load a new theme onto an ATA graphics server, configure a new graphics server, and finally re-image the new graphics server. We'll now look at the USB stick size. There are various USB sticks available on the market to date. We have found that the 4 gig USB stick is the best value for money. The 4 gig stick can hold up to 6 graphic themes plus all of the configuration files. We'll now configure our new USB stick. I have downloaded the files from the Technical Support SharePoint site. We'll format our 4 gig USB stick to make it bootable. Then we'll load the required files onto the USB stick. Insert your USB stick into the USB drive of your laptop. In my computer, double check the drive name of your USB stick. In our case, the removable drive is the letter G. Open up the directory where you've saved your configuration files. I've saved mine into a directory called ATA Graphics Servers. You'll need to open up the directory TCO003. Select USB boot. Run the program CRstart. Select USB format. This part is critical. Absolutely make sure you select the correct drive letter name. In our case, we're looking for the letter G. G. Select format. Double checks, yes, we'll start the format. This may take some time depending on the size of your USB stick. Formatting of the USB stick is now complete. Click OK. Now exit the program. Your USB stick is now ready to copy the required files to your USB stick. We'll now copy the files from our laptop over to our G drive. Open up our USB stick, which is letter G in our case. Let's just shrink that down a little bit. Now we'll open up the directory where our files are saved on our laptop. Now we'll select the required files we'll put onto our USB stick. Select that. We'll select 6 files plus our configuration files and copy them over to our USB stick. Hold the Shift key down, right click, select copy, move over to your USB stick, click within the USB stick drive, right click, then paste. The selected files will now be copied over to your USB stick. Wait until all files are copied. This may take some time depending on the size and the amount of graphic files selected. Your USB stick is now ready to configure the ATA graphics server. Please remember to remove your USB stick from the laptop before restarting, as the USB stick is now a bootable drive. It'll reload the operating system onto your hard drive. Our USB stick is now ready to be run into the graphics server. Ensure the graphics server is powered off. Connect a mouse and a keyboard to the graphics server. Press the power on button and the system will start to boot up. Either the game animation will commence or waiting for communication screen will be displayed. Press F2 on the keyboard and the Windows desktop will be displayed, as so. Note, due to security restrictions, the default user must be logged off and the technician to be logged on. To change the user, click the Start button. Log off. Log off. Then we'll log on as a technician. You'll see the following logon screen appear. The username is technician, all lowercase, the password is Australia, and then click on OK. Put the USB stick into the graphics server. Double click on My Computer. The drive letter for our USB stick in our case is the letter G. We double click on the folder to open up the entire contents of the USB stick. In this example, we are going to load Cache Express Multilink graphic files into our graphics server. What we need to do is we need to copy the contents of this folder into the SYS005 _new South Wales _G-line folder. We open up the folder Cache Express Multilink. We go up to Edit. We go to Select All. We go back up to Edit, we go Copy, go back, open up the folder SYS005 underscore new underscore New South Wales underscore Gline. What we need to do is overwrite these files with our Cache Express multi-link files. We go back to Edit, go down to Paste. The files from that folder will want to copy over the top, so we say yes to all. We are now ready to run the graphic files onto our graphic server. We will now run the configuration program from our USB stick. Our USB stick is letter G. We'll open up SYS005 for New South Wales with the Gline message. We go to the Setup program, double click on Setup. Just wait for the program to start. We get the welcome page, we click on Next. Now, because we've loaded Cache Express Multi-Link into the configuration program, as you can see, the game is down here in the display. We need to select our jurisdiction. We have to select New South Wales. We then get this panel displaying for the overhead displays for the Gline message. So we say OK to that. So what that is, we get this extra box here for the gambling warning sign. So if we go into the gambling warning sign, this is what will be displayed on our plasma or LCD display. So we can have it displayed at the top of the LCD or at the bottom of the LCD. Just go back to our game type. Everything's correct. Cache Express. We select our comms. Our jackpot controller that we're using is a Powertronics, so that's what's selected, but we have a number of different protocols available. Plasma refresh. This is mainly for plasma displays. If you're using an LCD, you won't have to refresh the display. If you are using refresh, please make sure at the time that the refresh will start, as this will display a white screen at that time. The currency, you can change the currency symbol, which we can just leave as the $sign. The audio and volume, depending on your venue that you're at, you can turn the volume up or down of the graphic server or leave it at default. And as I said, back to the gambling warning sign. Once completing our selections, we click on Done. We then get the display asking for the password. This password is available from tech support. Once we've entered in our password, we click on Next, and the graphic file for Cache Express will be loaded. We'll now look at reinstalling the operating system onto our ATA graphics server. At the beginning of the lesson, we made our USB stick a bootable USB stick. Looking at the USB stick, we have the file called kernel and flash installed onto our USB stick. To reinstall the operating system onto our ATA graphics server, connect the USB stick to the ATA graphics server. Reboot, restart the ATA graphics server. It should boot from the USB stick. Follow the displayed instructions and eventually the computer will be logged onto the default user account with the Windows desktop displayed. Please note, during this process, the ATA graphics server may restart several times. Once you've reinstalled the operating system, you'll need to reload the ATA graphic file for the graphics server. We've demonstrated the whole process this way, as not all cases require the operating system to be reloaded. If you receive a graphics server from the stores, the graphic server will have the operating system reloaded. you will only need to load the graphic file onto the graphics server. This case has been demonstrated at the end of the lesson as if only the operating system has been damaged by power spikes or any other cause.